Hi, this is my creative project, and I will be doing it on interest groups. Um, so basically, what are interest groups? Interest groups are organizations of people who share a common interest and try to influence government decisions. And they're not political parties and they don't run candidates, but instead they use different tools to shape how they can influence the government. And for some examples, we can draw to the National Rifle Association, or the NRA, the AARP, the NAACP, the Sierra Club, and the American Medical Association. And these interest groups are particularly useful because when you are bonded together, it's a lot more easy to make a difference than when you're alone and scattered. So why are interest groups important? We can draw on several different reasons, but first, that the government is overloaded and lawmakers can't be experts on everything, so interest groups can provide research, data, or expertise. Second, interest groups actually really mobilize people because they can get them out to vote, call their representatives, show up to meetings, or support a cause that they believe in. And thirdly, interest groups represent voices, especially those that might be ignored without organization, such as the NAACP with matters like civil rights or environmental groups. Um, They also do raise questions about fairness because some groups have a lot more money and resources than others, and this can be due to many different factors. So interest groups influence politics in a variety of ways. The first one we can draw on is lobbying, and this is basically where interest groups meet with lawmakers, staffers, or bureaucrats to provide information and push for specific policies that they believe their constituents are really privy to. And they try to see what they can add, remove, or have rewritten so it fits their narrative. The second one is electioneering, and this includes campaign donations, endorsements, and mobilizing members to vote of that group. And these interest groups often use PACs or super PACs to support candidates who share their goals. Um, and then the third is litigation, and the groups such as the NAACP or the National Association of Advancement for People of Color have used lawsuits to challenge unjust laws. And this has been very powerful for the um, shaping how we can really change how our society works so everybody gets a fair shot. Um, and then we can also draw on grassroots mobilization and astroturfing. Grassroots mobilization is where interest groups encourage ordinary people to contact representatives. And this is like basically because with grassroots, it means it comes about naturally in contrast to astroturfing. And it's meant to make voters see that the lawmakers actually care. In terms of astroturfing, this is a fake version of grassroots mobilization. And astroturf's campaigns are designed to look like citizens organizing, but they're actually funded by wealthy organizations or political actors. And it's one of the concepts we learned this semester, and I highlight it in this video because it shows how public opinion can really be manipulated by these astroturfing. Um, Why do people join interest groups? There was a political science, Menkira Olson, explained that people don't automatically participate because of the free rider problem, because people can benefit from a policy whether they join or not, and it's been a very big issue in society today. Um, and then he says to fix this, we could call on selective benefits, say material benefits such as discounts, magazines, and insurance, solidary benefits, community belonging and shared identity, and then purposive benefits, supporting the cause you believe in. And it's understanding these incentives that help to explain why some groups grow and others struggle. So we can draw on a few examples of interest groups influencing policy, such as the National Rifle Association, as they are heavily known for the protection of the Second Amendment with your right to bear arms, and they have been very influential in gun policy at both the state and federal level. The AARP protects Social Security and Medicare by mobilizing millions of senior citizens because that is their base of what they want to protect. The Sierra Club is more of a environmental group, and they push for regulations on environment. So basically, and then each of these groups really use multiple strategies such as lobbying, electioneering, lawsuits, and mobilization. And this really just shapes how the government is built. Back to how a critique of interest groups is the amount of resources they have. It's really not perfect because many of them have unequal resources because they're supported by wealthy actors that influence their decision making, and a lot of corporate issues that will end up shaping how that organization wants to shape the interest group's agenda. We can draw on iron triangles, which is a closer relationship between Congress, bureaucracies, and interest groups, and this can shut out public oversight. And then we can also draw back to AstroTurf campaigns, as this misleads the public and distorts the participation in the democratic process. And really, why understanding interest groups matters. These interest groups are really influential that a lot of people don't really know about policies about healthcare, gun laws, taxes, the environment, education, and almost every major issue. You can draw on abortion, you can draw on the economy, literally everything that goes into the government. And also understanding how they work helps you understand why some issues get more attention than others, why some bills never even pass, and also it is very hard to pass a bill, and who benefits from certain laws, because there's a lot of stuff that goes just into one bill, like the one big beautiful bill, millions of different details about it. And this also shows how ordinary people can influence the government through an organized action instead of just being a part and it all being scattered. And this is just to close. So that's really the world of interest groups. The organization that quietly but powerfully shape American politics really every day. And if you are taking this class in the future, I would keep an eye out for these groups the next time you hear about a bill, a political ad or a public debate. Chances are an interest group is behind it. And that's really all about interest groups. Thank you for watching.